Good morning and welcome to Tuesday edition of Breakfast Show Inside Nigeria on Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Ugbebo. The nation still mourns. Today has been declared public holiday by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to mourn the passing of former President Muhammadu Buhari on Sunday in a London clinic. And of course, the papers are still celebrating the life and times of President Buhari. Leadership has its full picture on its cover today, and it says succession battle begins. As Buhari is laid to rest in Daura today, federal government declares holiday. Succession battle begins. Buhari is laid to rest in Daura today. Federal government declares holiday, and of course we have the picture of those in the succession line to the court, like following President Muhammadu Buhari had in the north. We had the picture of Shetima, Atiku, Kwankwaso, El-Rufai, and Amakura. There are secession battle already to fill the vacuum left by President Muhammadu Buhari. Atop the cover of Leadership, we have more tributes for Buhari as Oba Adetona is buried. I was in the same hospital with Buhari, Abdul Salami. Buhari was a patriot, Boss Mustafa, Osinbajo, Dangote, Abiodun, others bid Awujale farewell as remains laid to rest in Ijebu-Ode. That story continues on page 22 of Leadership. From Leadership, we move to the page 3 of the paper. We still on Leadership, actually. We have today's stand, Buhari sunsets on an enigma. Buhari sunsets on an enigma. The death of former President Muhammadu Buhari, Nigeria's 7th military head of state and 15th civilian president, brings to a close one of the most consequential and complex political journeys in the history of Nigeria. The man whom millions fondly called Megaskia, the honest one, died at 82 in a London hospital far away from the Daura soil that birthed and shaped him, but not far from the heart of a nation whose destiny he shaped for 5 decades. His death, confirmed by the presidency, has triggered an outpouring of tributes from across the world, from President Bola Tinubu, who called him a man of honor and quiet strength, to former presidents Olusegun Obasanjo, Ibrahim Babangida, and Goodluck Jonathan, who acknowledged him as a patriot and statesman, to global institutions like the African Union and ECOWAS, which credited him with helping strengthen regional peace and democratic norms. With his passing, Nigeria mourns not just a former president, but the closing of a generational chapter. For better or worse, Muhammadu Buhari's life was intertwined with Nigeria's destiny. In a nation where public trust is scarce and leadership is contested terrain, Buhari stood as a paradox, loved and lauded, praised and criticized, remembered and debated. His death caused for sober reflection, not just on the man, but on the state of our nation. It's a reminder that legacy is not built in the length of time spent in office, but in the values espoused, the decisions taken, and the trust earned. As the national flag flies at half-mast, as the solemn procession returns its body to Daura for burial, as world leaders pay their tributes, Nigerians must ask itself what truly defines leadership. Buhari's answer, even in death, is clear. Megaskia lived by his truth. The nation must now live up to his ideal. May his soul find peace. May his legacy provoke honest introspection. And may history in the fullness of time be kind. Paying tributes to former President Muhammadu Buhari, who passed away on Sunday. Buhari sunsets on an enigma. Today's stand in Leadership newspaper. We move to the back page of the paper, where we have Tuesday column with Abdurrauf Aliyu, and today is writing on Africa's governance must reflect its soul. Africa's governance must reflect its soul. What succeeds in Rwanda may not work in Chad. Governance must match each society's character, constraints, and lived conditions. Quote from today's column with Abdurrauf Aliyu. Africa's governance must reflect its soul. Before we leave the back page, let's go to Ghana Must Go. Ghana Must Go's news. Cameroon President Biya 92 wants 8th term. 100%. That is the answer from Ghana Must Go. It's on this note we conclude review of leadership this Tuesday on leaderships inside Nigeria. Don't forget to log into the website of leadership for continuation of those headline stories. We move ahead to the next papers we have on our lineup, and that is the Punch. The Punch, still reflecting on the life and times of President Muhammadu Buhari, it says Daura Kingsmen Associates reflect on Buhari's final months. Daura Kingsmen Associates reflect on Buhari's final months. State burial begins in Abuja today. Interment to follow in Katsina. I was hospitalized in same London facility as Buhari Abdulsalami. Jonathan visits Aisha in London as Amosun Lawan others arrive Daura. Tinubu appoints Akume Ribadu others to burial committee. Federal government delegation visits Aisha Mamman Daura Abdulsalami in London. We also have pictures of the visits just beneath the leading story in the Punch newspaper this Tuesday. We have the picture of Vice President Kashim Shettima, Mrs. Florence Ajimobi, Haja Nana Shettima, Mrs. Aisha Buhari during the President Muhammadu Buhari during the federal government delegation's visit to the family of the late President Muhammadu Buhari in London on Monday. Ex-President Goodluck Jonathan, we also have him in another picture, former President of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, and VP Shettima during their visit to Buhari's family in London on Monday. We also have picture 3, Governor of Borno State, Babagana Zulu, Vice Admiral Jubri Ayinla, retired, and former head of state, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, retired, and VP Shettima during the federal government delegation's visit to Abubakar in London on Monday. These are pictures gracing the cover of the Punch newspaper underneath the story on Buhari. Beneath that, Naira rebounds to 4-month high, trades 1,518 per dollar. Ogun workers begin strike over 82 billion Naira pension arrears. 2027, Adeleke attacks Aregbesola over plan to oust governor. The story is on page 29 of the Punch newspaper. We move ahead to the stories just beside and above the masthead of the Punch. Natasha fires back at Akpabio over reinstatement challenge. And atop the masthead, soldiers bar traditionalists from Awujale's Muslim funeral. Osinbajo, governors of Shoba, Daniel Dangote grace Awujale's burial. Fonsegbuwa house poised for throne as Ijebu awaits new Awujale. The story continues on page 27 of the Punch, and that also concludes the review of front headline stories on the Punch newspaper this Tuesday. For more, don't forget to log into the website of the Punch newspaper. We move ahead to the next paper we have on our lineup, and that is Nigerian Tribune. Nigerian Tribune still on life and times of President Muhammadu Buhari. All set for Buhari's burial. Tinubu to receive body in Katsina. Body to arrive by noon. Interment set for 2 p.m. today. Federal government declares public holiday. Condolence registers to be opened in MDA's ICC. Nigerian embassies, missions abroad now suspends legislative activities for 1 week. Awujale Ijebu-Ode stands still as Oba Adetona is buried. Abiodun Sanwo-Olu, Oshoba, Daniel Dangote, others in attendance. The Patriots Chiefs Constitutional Summit to Wednesday to honor Buhari Awujale. Adeleke to Aregbesola, Osun people have not forgotten your records as governor. And that also concludes, because we have the picture of the federal government delegation to family of late President Muhammadu Buhari in London on Monday. We see the picture of Vice President Kashim Shettima commiserating with the family. We move ahead to the next paper we have on our lineup, and that is this day, because most of the papers today are still celebrating the life and times of the former president. However, we'll move to the next paper that have different story all together on this cover, and that is The Guardian. The Guardian says pay TV struggles as more Nigerians opt for mobile streaming services. Pay TV struggles as more Nigerians opt for mobile streaming services. The story runs on page 6 of The Guardian. However, let's see the illustration beneath the leading story. Subscription video on demand SVOD market. Netflix and Showmax are reported to dominate the SVOD market in Nigeria, that is, subscription video on demand. As of December 2024, Netflix had around 150,815 subscribers in Nigeria, and Showmax had 147,000 subscribers as of December 2023. Multi-choice between March 2023 and March 2025, Multi-choice lost 1.4 million subscribers in Nigeria alone. This represents 77% of the 1.8 million total subscriber drop across the entire ROA segment. In the last 15 months ending May 2025, telcos, largely MTN and Airtel, earned 2.37 trillion naira from data. These are illustrations between the leading story on today's The Guardian newspaper. Pay TV struggles as more Nigerians opt for mobile streaming services. These mobile streaming services are Netflix and Showmax, and The Guardian reports that they are now dominating the SVOD market in Nigeria. SVOD means subscription video on demand market. Moving ahead, still on The Guardian newspaper, Buhari gets state funeral as critics fought National Assembly's week-long tribute. Buhari represented unity, equity, but was misunderstood. That is a news story on page 4 of The Guardian. Osinbajo, Dangote, Abiodun, others bid Abujuwale farewell. U.S. threatens visa validity defaulters with deportation lifetime ban. Tight security in Daura as Katsina awaits Buhari's remains. Over 2 million Abuja indigenous people risk extinction, CSO tells UN. Over 2 million Abuja indigenous people risk extinction, CSO tells UN. That takes us just beneath the masthead of The Guardian. Government key to evangelist in Fresh Plateau attack. Government key to evangelist in Fresh Plateau attack. Akpabio appeals against court order for Natasha's recall. Calls for mentoring deregulation intensify as experts warn of widening gap. That brings to a close the review of front headline stories on The Guardian this Tuesday, July 15, 2025. For more, don't forget to log into the website of The Guardian. It's also on this note we bring to a close the first half of today's program Inside Nigeria. Second half of the program is coming in shortly with our guest in the studio. Don't go away. Stay tuned.
Discover Turkey through education. The culture-rich country of Turkey, which has hosted a myriad of civilization throughout the centuries, is a global pioneer in education. Turkey offers various lucrative opportunities for students. Despite its quality living standards, the cost of living in Turkey is affordable compared to other European countries. A diploma from globally recognized and renowned universities in Turkey will open every door for you. For more information, visit leadership.ng/study in Turkey. Discover Turkey through education. The culture-rich country of Turkey, which has hosted a myriad of civilization throughout the centuries, is a global pioneer in education. Turkey offers various lucrative opportunities for students. Despite its quality living standards, the cost of living in Turkey is affordable compared to other European countries. A diploma from globally recognized and renowned universities in Turkey will open every door for you. For more information, visit leadership.ng/study in Turkey. Discover Turkey through education. The culture-rich country of Turkey, which has hosted a myriad of civilization throughout the centuries, is a global pioneer in education. Turkey offers various lucrative opportunities for students. Despite its quality living standards, the cost of living in Turkey is affordable compared to other European countries. A diploma from globally recognized and renowned universities in Turkey will open every door for you. For more information, visit leadership.ng/study in Turkey.
Welcome back to the second half of the program inside Nigerian Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Ogbebo once again. And of course, I have my Tuesday guest in the studio. Is a public affairs analyst, Benedict Aguloye. Good morning. Nigeria is mourning. And today has been declared public holiday with a flag flying half-mast. What happened? How did you receive the news of the passing of President Muhammadu Buhari?
Well, mixed feeling.
Faithful Sunday.
He's been in and out of hospital, and I think at above 80, God has been gracious enough.
Yes, to him.
But I can understand on the part of the family and friends, your old man is never too old.
Yeah.
It's never too
He
old.
lived a situation whereby when the UN declared the estimated living, how do you call it, quality of life, Nigeria, 53 years of age, and he lived up to 82 years of age. However, be that as it may, his death has been generating a lot of controversies, especially on the social media spaces, with so many having diverse views on the man, Muhammadu Buhari. What are your views?
Well, my views about him will be straight. I think that he's someone who is honest to himself and ensure honesty in his dealings and transactions. He's dedicated to the nation, we cannot doubt that. He's a dogged fighter. Because at least you see people lose election and they jump ship. But he never derailed. He kept his focus consistent, working on that journey, making us realize that you don't have to join them. If you continue to remain persistent, at some point, you can beat them. And I think that eventually happened in his lifetime. So for me, that is a story for everybody. That at least there was a man who lived, joined the army as a boy, rose to become a general, was taken by his colleagues to lead. At the time, they also felt they removed him. At some other point down the line, he considered it fit to lead the revolution, a civil, popular revolution. And I think we saw that coming to play in 2015. However, from him also, I have learned while he was in office that definitely it takes more than a good man. It takes more than personal integrity. It takes more than personal dedication. It takes more than personal dignity to fix the Nigerian problem. To fix Nigeria, you need a team, not just yourself.
Okay. Now, he came on the matter of insecurity, defeating Boko Haram and fighting corruption, which everybody perceived was to be so high. Now, in his 8 years of office, how would you rate his performance, especially in those regards?
Well, in his early days, you would say, for his 8 years, you would say that for Boko Haram, I think he successfully pushed them back. We might not have defeated them totally, because like we would always say,
defeated them technically.
Insurgency is not the same thing as social mass movement or public insurrection. Insurrection on the street is what government can defeat easily. Why? Because you know who the actors are. You know where they live. You know what they want. But when you come to insurgency, you don't know all of them. You cannot say a number of things about them. Sometimes you are not even sure about what they want. Some just want to survive. Some want to make political statements. Some want to maybe propagate religion even without them having a proper understanding of what it means. So to a large extent, in the security sector, I would possibly rate him like 60-65%. You can't say he didn't do anything.
Even with the mass killings in Benue, Plateau, Taraba, and Adamawa?
Yeah, insurgency came, of the banditry came high on his regime. But, I would always say this about security. Security is not a one-man show. I'm from the West, and I would always insist, right, that in Yoruba land, we say Aremo ki jake weje.
Meaning?
Iṣẹ́ ọmọ ọlọ́mọ là ń ránṣẹ́ dé tòrutòru. Meaning, you don't make crown prince field commanders. A crown prince is set on the throne. He cannot be a field commander. He doesn't want to die there. And you don't send your children on jobs of no return. Majority of real work in intelligence gathering is more like no return. But the truth is that the army, the military he inherited, the police he inherited, the security forces he inherited, particularly those who came in from 99, majority of them are children of who is who, are people who came in by one form of connection or the rest, and not by their particular military ability. I've been in training, and that assumption that nobody is, that there are no people that are untrainable is a lie. There are people that cannot be trained. So you only work with the tools and the people that are available to you. So when you come to battles, it's about people, it's about process, it's about goal. When the people you have are wrong, it doesn't matter the process you put in place. The goal cannot be effectively achieved. It's as simple as that. If a CBN will transfer staff and some of their parents will take up the precedent to say, why would you transfer people from Abuja to Lagos? Then imagine if their children were asked to go and gather intelligence in villages and towns where there is no electricity, no water, and nothing. Will they actually agree? So I believe that we have a backlog of ineptitude. We have a backlog of wrong recruitments that he inherited. So to a large extent, therefore, there is a limit to the result you would expect from him. On his part, he also had his little challenges, but he also had the people around him. Like I said, a tree in Africa, we say a tree does not make a forest. Yes, because we don't do GMO. And even if the tree will make the forest by GMO, you still need a number of years. It's not an overnight thing. So to a large extent, I will not call him a failure security-wise. At least a state like Kano will feel different. They were under Boko Haram when he came.
But
the
right
roadblocks were taken out.
But if I may also intervene, during his reign, we had the governor of Katsina State, where the former late president is from. And of course, we had Masari practically almost calling out the president because of the insurgency that has overtaken that place, the act of banditry. I remember Masari said, even calling on the citizens to defend themselves. So you now saying that that he
if you go to the people of
that is Masari is still alive today.
If you go to the people of Katsina today, let them rate Masari, and they will tell you he's the worst governor they've ever had. That is the words on the street of Katsina. They believe that Masari failed them, not the nation. He was their governor. He was the one who was closer to them. He was the one who should do a few things. He was the one running out at the early stage when he should have understood the system and do something, signing agreement and alliance with bandits, and having concede to one or two. Now, that's why I said the difference between those people and what you call riot on the street is that they are so many, they are so divided. And so when you pacify one, the others also want to get what that one has gotten. So Masari, in a way, in my opinion, compounded the banditry
not
situation
just him saying
in Katsina.
Of course, we are reading reports on media everywhere of banditry activities in the state where the late president is from. Anyway, the cover story today on leadership says succession battle begins. And of course, we have pictures of likely contenders to fill in the shoes of former President Buhari. We have the picture of Shetima, Atiku, Kwankwaso, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, and Amakura, who have that cult-like following in the north that can fill in the shoes of.
I don't see anybody filling the Buhari shoe. Just like in the southwest till today, nobody will fill the shoe of an Awolowo. He's cut across all the sector. I don't see a Kwakwaso ever getting the support Buhari had in the Northeast. More so that while Buhari was yet alive, he was seen as contending with him. Now, when you contend with a reigning king, when he dies, his supporters does not want you as the king. That's a practical reality. So if you ask me, I don't see anybody
filling
in the space of what Buhari had left. Maybe Kwakwaso will continue to have some form of control in Kano and maybe a bit in part of Jigawa, but not across the north. I don't see the people of Sokoto, Kebbi, and Zamfara, for instance, working for a Kwakwaso. I don't see the people of Bauchi follow any other person the way they had followed Buhari. Let's be very sincere about that. Because he has connected with them at a level where none of these other people is connecting with any other person. So basically, that's what you get.
All right, moving ahead, in Nigeria is celebrating mourning, not celebrating mourning the passing of his former President Muhammadu Buhari. Well, moving ahead to other issues on the cover of papers today, we have that of Blueprint newspaper is also a trendy story. Focus on governance, forget probing of Baseki. Wike tests Okpebolo, begs Oshomole for humiliating him over Edo governor. I think this is a wise decision. Many are hailing the news on Wike over this development, considering the fallout between him and his and Obaseki in the past. And we have a situation whereby governors, present governors, they want to probe their predecessor while in office, and this is also a throwback, kind of slowing down the administration. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I have always believed that we should learn from the past and not live there. When you take over governance, you should focus on going forward from where you are. That is not to say that if there are errors from the past,
yes, you should
not, but the past should not be your focus. That's why we say in driving, the windshield is always very big. That's for you to see the front. The rear mirror is always very small because you need to take cue from what is behind you. So basically, Okpebolo should focus on going forward. Yes, there are errors and infractions of the past. When you come across them, you deal with them. There will be somebody who possibly will come and tell you the government is owing him for a job that was not done. At that point, you will hold him responsible and possibly even make him cough out whatever he was previously paid for which the service had not been delivered. Basically, I think that should be the way to go. There should be reconciliation, there should be forward focus, there should be development focus. But like we said, when you come across the errors of the past, correct them and deal with them. If there is the need for sanction at that point, place the sanction. But not carry torchlight and be looking back to check what has happened. Let the focus be on moving the state forward. And I think that is a very good advice that should be taken.
All right. Thank you so much. Now, before we leave today's Inside Nigeria, I just want us to talk about the health sector, Nigeria's health sector, because on Sunday, we were greeted with the news that our former president, Muhammadu Buhari, passed on in a London clinic. And looking back, the 8 years of his administration, he spent most of them abroad, in hospitals abroad. And Abdusalami in today's Blueprint also said he was admitted in same hospital with Buhari before he died. We are having a situation whereby our leaders are frequenting hospitals overseas without developing theirs. What is going to happen? Because when President Muhammadu Buhari took over, then as head of state, one of the reasons he gave was that our clinics are mere consulting clinics. And many years down the line, the situation has not changed.
Well, the situation has changed. If you ask me, between 1983 and now, a lot has happened. In 1983, our medical personnel in every hospital you get to are very, very competent and well trained.
That was then.
Then we were not understaffed. Maybe some of the equipment and facilities were not there. But today in some hospitals, you possibly have equipment and facilities, but the people are not there, or those that are there are not doing what they should do. Now, when you say people go abroad for medical treatment, if they have their personal money and they are not in government, you can't stop them.
Yes, you can. Yes,
You can't stop them. When our universities were good, people were still going abroad to study. There are universities in the UK and there are students from the UK in other parts of the world. So people going out, I don't think is the issue. But the issue is that at home, how organized is our health sector?
And what are leaders doing? Leaders, political leaders that are patronizing the hospitals, going for medical tourism.
The question is this: when you are not sure, right? There is the issue of trust. They all knew what has gone into our recruitment processes. And we know, like I said, for the military, the same thing happens in the health sector, the same thing happens in some of the education, in some other sector. That the people you have employed are not the best.
You're saying they're not competent. You are bringing
you are not sure of their competence because you know there were compromise at the point of recruitment. Right? So if there are compromise at the point of recruitment, the template for work will not be adhered to because you have had an error in employment, in recruitment. You are going to have an employment error in deployment. There are people who are not trainable. We don't need to deceive ourselves. So training them is waste of time. Unfortunately, we have a system where training is treated as welfare and not as a tool. Training is a tool, and we should take it as that, not as welfare. When you take it as welfare, what comes to the trainees become more important to him than the knowledge. But when you take it as a tool, the trainee wants to learn everything that is possible because he sees it as the way to go forward. So when you go to the health sector today, where is our template? What's our drug revolving scheme system like? What is our procurement process like? What are the facilities maintenance like? Are they done based on a template that you can take to any of the hospital and it will work? So how do we buy our chemicals?
Mr. Benedict, if I may chip in, with all the reasons you are giving now for leaders not to patronize their home-based hospitals. So what you're saying is that the leaders are in their right to continue on their medical tourism to hospitals abroad while jettisoning our own. Whereas we had Nelson Mandela, who, even though at the height of his sickness, was not taken to any outside country, he was treated right in South Africa. And our leaders are supposed to chart the way forward. So if our leaders,
don't get me wrong.
Now by
don't get me wrong.
Creating all the problems they are justifying that our leaders should continue on their medical tourism instead of paying attention.
In the 70s and the 80s, the king of Saudi Arabia used to come to the Saudi royal family.
You are just bringing out the reasons why they shouldn't.
I'm not giving out the reason why they shouldn't.
Not competent.
I'm telling you what we need to do.
We don't have all these things. Then shouldn't leaders are not supposed to think outside the box and bring all these things you mentioned and bring them into pay.
We should do what we need to do. That's what I'm saying. I'm not justifying whether they go or not go. But what I'm saying is make the system work.
Exactly.
Even if they don't stay. Even if they don't stay, we will attract people. Like I said, people come from Saudi to UCH in the past. Even the royal family, they were possibly among the richest in the world. So if you have your facilities working, people will come and patronize you. And that's what I'm saying, that we need to focus on, rather than complaining on who travel or who does. No. What are the deficiencies in our health sector? You go to the hospital today, they say there are no consumables. You pay for test, government hospital tells you there are no chemicals to carry out the test. Even when the test is important for your treatment. Why are those things there? Because when you say there is no chemical to carry, reagent to carry out test, or you say there are no consumables, it means there is a stock out, is it not? Somebody is responsible for monitoring the stock. Somebody is responsible for procurement. What do we do? What does the system recommend should happen to them in terms of sanction if those things are not done? So what we have as of today is that we are gambling with every sector, from education to health to security and the rest. And what I'm saying is, let's stop gambling. Let's put in place processes and procedures that will ensure that we move forward, not just throwing money at problems. We have a political class and even a government, a bureaucracy class today that are not interested in doing project for the purpose of the project. The primary thing is, how do we get money into our pocket? So as long as it is what is in need for me, even when the infrastructures and the facilities are built, they may not be utilized.
All right, thank
So
you.
the focus should be, let's build our system. Let's have a template that is transparent. Let's have a template that gives accountability across the health sector. When that is done, even if some individuals still prefer to journey abroad, you are also going to begin to attract people from other countries into the nation for health services. We have the skill when it comes to the people. And rather than complain about people who are leaving, cleaners leave, everybody leave. You only need to train more. When you train more, some will leave, some will stay. And the system will continue and the system will function. And if the system begins to function, there can always be more and more improvement than to sit down and say, because some people have japa. No, those who are here, a lot are still on the street who don't have proper job. Yes. I know physiotherapists, I know people who are in medical who today are slaving in some private homes and some private facilities because the public sector will not employ them, because they are not connected, because they do not have the links.
Oh, thank you so much, Benedict Agbeloye. This conversation we are definitely going to continue some other time. But as it is, time is actually against us. It's always a pleasure to have you on the program. We always have robust discussion whenever you are around. Well, viewers, this on this note we conclude today's Inside Nigerian Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Ugbebo. I look forward to having you same time, same station for another fresh edition of the program tomorrow. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word. Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080